The wind came first, dry, sharp, carrying the smell of sand and lightning. It swept through the canyon like an omen, whispering across the rocks and through the broken door of the Carter Ranch. Jed Harlan hunched deeper into his coat, his hat pulled low against the coming storm. His horse shifted beneath him, ears twitching. The sky had gone from gold to gray to black in less than an hour, and he knew if he didn't find shelter soon, he'd be sleeping in the mud. He had no map and no real destination. Just the trail ahead and the ghosts that followed. Every mile between him and civilization made him feel both safer and lonelier, but he'd learned a long time ago that a man couldn't have it both ways. Out here, quiet was the same thing as peace. By the time he spotted the outline of a house, half sunken into the ridge, its roof leaning like a broken wing, night had already fallen. The last sliver of sun bled red across the desert before the clouds swallowed it whole. Jed dismounted, his boots sinking into the damp ground, and led his horse through the fence line that had long since fallen to ruin. The ranch was dead, that was his first thought. The air was too still, too cold. The old well stood capped, the corral empty except for bones. The barn door hung off its hinges, groaning in the wind. But as he got closer, he saw a flicker, faint, but there. A light, firelight. He froze, his hand going instinctively to his revolver. No one was supposed to be out here. The Carters had been gone for years, some said taken by Comanche, others by fever. He'd never heard the same story twice. But none of them ended with someone still tending the fire. He moved slowly toward the house, one step at a time, boots whispering in the dirt. The air smelled of smoke and something else, something metallic. Blood, maybe. When he pushed the door open, it creaked so loud it felt like a shout. Inside, the air was thick, heavy. Dust floated in the glow of the fire, and the smell of rotten wood filled his lungs. The furniture was overturned, dishes broken, the table cracked in half. But the hearth burned steady, flames licking low and orange. Then he heard it, a voice, low and ragged. Please, just make it quick. Jed froze. His hand went for his gun again, heart thudding in his chest. The voice had come from the corner, behind the broken armchair. Who's there? He called. The fire popped. Then, slowly, a figure moved into view. It was a woman, thin, barefoot, her clothes torn and covered in dust. Her hair hung wild over her face, and her arms were wrapped around herself like she was holding herself together. When she looked up, her eyes caught the light, dark and hollow, full of terror. Don't hurt me, she whispered. Please. Jed's gun lowered a little, confusion cutting through his caution. Ma'am, I ain't gonna hurt you. Her breathing quickened. You already have. Just make it quick this time. He blinked. What are you talking about? I've never seen you before. Her head tilted, suspicion flickering in her eyes. You're not with him. No. He holstered his gun and stepped closer, his voice gentling. Ain't with anyone. Just looking for a dry roof for the night. The woman sagged to her knees, her hands trembling. You shouldn't have come here. Jed crouched down, keeping his distance. You're hurt. She gave a hollow laugh. We're all hurt out here. Her eyes darted toward the door, then back to him. He's coming back soon. You need to leave before he finds you. Jed frowned. Who's coming? The preacher, she whispered. That's what he calls himself. But he ain't no preacher. Her voice cracked on the last word. The flames flickered, and for a second the light danced across her face, enough for Jed to see the bruises on her neck. He felt something twist in his gut. He's got you trapped here. She nodded slowly. He found me 2 months ago. Said he'd bring me salvation. Said the desert could wash my sins away. But he wasn't savin' me. He was breaking me. Jed clenched his jaw. Then I'll take you outta here. We can ride east, till. She cut him off with a sharp shake of her head. You don't understand. You can't just leave him. He always finds you. As if on cue, thunder rolled across the plains. The wind outside picked up, howling through the gaps in the walls. And then, faint but clear, came the sound of hooves. Steady, measured, getting closer. The woman's breath caught. He's here. Jed rose to his feet, drawing his gun again. Get behind me. She didn't move. No, no, you'll only make it worse. Lady, I've dealt with worse than some self-proclaimed preacher. She looked up at him then, really looked, and for a brief second, something like pity flashed across her eyes. Not this one, she whispered. The hoofbeats stopped outside the door. The wind went silent. Then came a voice, calm, smooth, too quiet for the storm that raged outside. Child, it said from the darkness. You brought me company. Jed's finger tightened on the trigger. Who's out there? The door swung open, slamming against the wall hard enough to rattle the frame. A tall figure stood in the doorway, framed by lightning. He was dressed head to toe in black, long coat, wide-brimmed hat, boots that shone wet with rain. Around his neck hung a silver cross, and in his hand, he held a worn leather Bible. But his eyes were wrong. Too pale, too still. He stepped inside without a sound, closing the door behind him. The firelight danced across his face, sharp, clean, and smooth as carved marble. No dirt, no age. Jed woke to the sound of crackling wood and the smell of smoke. His head pounded, each heartbeat a hammer behind his eyes. When he tried to move, the room swayed and tilted, sending a wave of nausea through him. He blinked, trying to remember where he was, and then it all came back: the preacher, the woman, the fire burning blue. He pushed himself upright, wincing at the ache in his skull. The cabin was dim now, lit only by the last embers in the hearth. The woman was gone, so was the preacher. Outside, the storm had broken, a stillness so deep it pressed against the walls. Jed's revolver lay a few feet away, its barrel blackened and twisted from the heat. He reached for it anyway, fingers brushing the metal. It was still warm. The air smelled wrong, too, not like smoke anymore, but like iron and something sweet and rotten. He got to his feet, swaying slightly, and went to the window. The world outside was silver and still. The moon hung low, turning the desert to bone. He could see the preacher's horse standing motionless by the fence, its head bowed, steam rising from its body like breath from the dead. Then came a sound, faint but unmistakable. A woman crying. Jed's pulse quickened. He followed the sound out the door, into the moonlight. His boots crunched on the wet earth as he crossed the yard. The crying grew louder, pulling him toward the barn. The door was half open, swinging gently in the wind. He stepped inside. The air was thick, heavy with the smell of hay and decay. Moonlight streamed through the gaps in the roof, painting long pale bars across the dirt floor. And there she was. The woman knelt in the middle of the barn, her hands bound in front of her, her head bowed. Her hair hung in dark tangles around her face. She was whispering something, a prayer, maybe, though the words came out broken. Jed approached slowly. "Ma'am." Her head snapped up, her eyes met his, wide and wild. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice trembling. "I ain't leaving you here with him," Jed said. She shook her head. "He won't let you take me. He doesn't let anyone go. I've dealt with worse men," he said. Her mouth twisted in something that might have been a smile. "He's not a man." Before Jed could answer, a low voice echoed through the barn, smooth as oil. "She's right, you know." Jed spun, gun drawn, though the revolver felt heavier now, colder, as if the metal itself didn't want to be held. The preacher stood in the shadows near the back of the barn, his black coat untouched by dirt or rain. His pale eyes gleamed like a wolf's in the dark. "I admire your persistence," the preacher said, stepping forward. "Most men run when they learn the truth. I'm not most men." The preacher smiled. "No, you're worse. You still think there's something left to save." Jed aimed the gun straight at his chest. "You can talk all you want. I'm still gonna end this." "End?" The preacher chuckled softly. "Boy, I've been here since before endings were invented." Jed fired. Once, twice, 3 times. Each shot hit home, each one useless. The preacher didn't even flinch. The bullets passed through him like smoke, hitting the wall behind and thudding into the wood. Then, slowly, the preacher raised his hand. "You still don't understand what kind of desert this is, do you?" The air grew heavy. The light dimmed. Jed felt the ground shift beneath his boots, the dirt turning soft, like it wanted to swallow him whole. The woman cried out, "Please." The preacher turned toward her. "You asked me to make it quick. But mercy is wasted on those who invite their own suffering." He reached for her. Jed moved before he could think, diving forward and tackling the preacher to the ground. They hit hard, the impact echoing through the barn. The air grew colder, unnaturally cold, and Jed felt something clawing at the edges of his mind, whispers that weren't his own. He swung a fist, connecting with the preacher's face, but his hand met nothing. Just air. The man dissolved beneath him like mist, reforming behind him in the blink of an eye. "Fighting me," the preacher said calmly, "is like fighting the wind. You can't kill what doesn't bleed." Jed turned, panting. "Then maybe I'll bury you instead." He grabbed the lantern from a nearby post and hurled it at the preacher. It shattered at his feet, fire spilling across the dirt. The flames leapt high, orange and wild, licking at the barn walls. The preacher stepped back, his smile fading. Fire, Jed said between breaths. Even the devil don't like fire. The preacher's eyes narrowed. You think I fear the thing that forged me? But something in his tone had changed, a tremor, faint but real. Jed saw it. He pressed forward, kicking burning hay toward him, forcing the flames closer.